by US dollar. All right, that is on. We are not random. They happen during battles after terrorist attack first. Then also, the military had prior intelligence and prepared a trap. The Nigerian troops already knew the fighter into a kill zone. I mean, decoy the vicinity, and also see that bomb blast increase urgency. I mean, they have to mount bomb blast to, take their activities clean and swift. Just days earlier, deadly bombing in Maduguri killed civilians. The military was already on a high alert, expecting more attack. Then, this operation was also part of a wider crackdown after the bomb blast. All right. Then also have high-value targets were involved during this precision strike. Among those kills, we are senior commander, which weakens terrorist leadership and also disrupt future attack. This is a big one by the military. They have really tried to make sure that insurgency and insecurity is minimized and gradually go to an end. Should be completely stopped, and things should be. Why it's described as precision strike. All right. Then we also have the gas. The goal was to weaken Iran economically and militarily. All right, the gas field with energy targeted cuts governmental revenue, also disrupt power supply and industry, and then weakens group like Iran military forces. Then also to some countries like Iraq was also halted. Then global oil in the Middle East, where Israel has to strike the world's largest gas field in Iran. All right, a quick look at that story to get the full details. All right, then moving on further, where we still have, on page 3, King Charles III received Tinubu's wife with full military honor. All right, I think we've taken that. All right, let's quickly move into the next paper to see what the next paper is saying, talking about the Guardian this morning. Let's see what is on the front page of the Guardian. We have AU rally support against terrorism as CDS decries enemy within. That is coming on page 6 of the Guardian this morning. Then, despite internal coalition conciliation talks, all right, PDP plans for conventional design, despite internal debts near 1.2 trillion US dollar amid refinance burdens, fiscal shock. Then we also have a state police. All right, the AU is pushing for joint action because terrorism is now continental threat, not just a local one. Then we also have needs for stronger regional cooperation. Terrorist group operate across borders, moving between countries easily. The African Union wants intelligence sharing, joint military operation, better funding for counter-terrorism forces. No single country can handle the problem alone. All right, then we also have why the aides decry enemies within, talking about why the aid has to come to decry the enemies within. Enemies within, internal threats. This refers to people inside countries who help or enable terrorism, such as information leaking, military information, then collaborators are supplying weapons or logistics, then corrupt officers weakening security system. This insiders makes it easier, for attack to succeed. Looking at why the ADs has to decry enemies within. Right, so moving on further, we still have why they decry these weak institutions and governance issues. Firstly, poor coordinations among agencies, corruptions and lack of accountability, then also community distrust or security forces. These internal problems are seen as just as dangerous as the terrorists themselves. All right, then moving on further, we also have call for unity and vigilance. The AU is urging citizens to report suspicious activities, government to strengthen internal system, and also leaders to address roots, costs like poverty and unemployment. All right, and in summary of this, the AU rallies support because terrorism is increasing across Africa, not only in Nigeria. They want countries to work together more closely. And also the warning about enemies within means internal collaborators, weak systems, helping terrorists. All right, a quick look at that to see the full details still on what the AU, Israeli Support Against Terrorism, as CDS, decries enemies within, coming on page 6 of the Guardian. All right, quickly moving to the next story where we have Tinubu King Charles hold interfaith dialogue and deepens ties. That is talking about King Charles on his visit to UK, where how Bola Ahmed Tinubu and King Charles III had interfaith dialogue and deepens ties. Okay, a quick look at that. I mean, firstly, they met at a formal interfaith event in Windsor's Castle. All right. I mean, during the state visit, both leaders attended an interfaith gathering at Windsor Castle. The event brought together religious leaders, faith-based organizations, international group promoting religious harmony. I mean, this was not just a symbolic. It involved real engagement with groups working on interfaith peace. And secondly, we have the engaged organization promoting religion unity. All right, Tinubu and King Charles jointly met organizations involved in interfaith dialogue, both in the UK and globally, discussing focused on religious tolerance, cooperation between faiths, and preventing extremism. Then also, the dialogue reflected the Nigerian internal reality, talking about Nigeria, religious tension, terrorism affecting both Muslims and Christians. Tinubu used the platform to highlight coexistence, peaceful and religious engagement. I mean, so the dialogue was also about sharing Nigerian experiences and solutions. All right, then going on and on, it strengthens diplomatic and cultural ties, and also it symbolizes unity during Ramadan. All right, in summary of this, Tinubu and King Charles III held a dialogue by attempting a joint interfaith event, meeting religious and peace-building organizations. They deepen ties by promoting religious tolerance, linking it to broader UK-Nigerian cooperation, trade, security, and culture. All right, these are all on the front page of why Tinubu King Charles hold interfaith dialogue and deepens ties. All right, looking at that page on page 6. Moving on further, we also have another big story still on the Guardian. I look at briefly. It was based on moon sighting. I mean, the Ramadan has to come to an end based on moon sighting. The end of Ramadan is determined by seeing the new crescent moon. I mean, Saudi Arabia has officially moon sighting committee that observes the sky on the 29th day of Ramadan. All right, confirms whether the new moon is visible. I mean, once the moon is seen, Ramadan ends immediately. All right, and it's been confirmed that the moon has already been sighted. Then Saudi Arabia officially announced Eid after confirming the moon. Sighting authorities declares the next day as Eid al-Fitr. That's why they announced Friday, I mean tomorrow being the Salah day, all right, which is the moon has already been sighted, all right. And while Ramadan remains last 29 or 30th day, I mean the Islamic calendar is longer, it's lunar, all right, based on the moon. A month can be 29 days if the moon is seen early, and 30 days if it's not seen. It completely is 30 days. All right, that is it on that aspect. I mean, on the Ramadan that has come to an end, which is today, and Eid Fitr is tomorrow. All right, and in summary of that, Ramadan ended because the new crescent moon was sighted in Saudi Arabia. I mean, this led to a declaration of Eid Fitr on Friday. The date changes yearly because the Islamic calendar follows the moon, not the sun. All right, that is it on that aspect. All right, we wish our Muslim brothers a happy Eid Fitr Salah celebration. All right, then moving, we also have on the front page, another big story there, we have PDP planned convention despite internal coalition talk. PDP planning convention despite international despite internal coalition talk, talking about page 3 of the Guardian. All right, why PDP is planning this convention despite reconciliation talk. All right, looking at this story, to meet constitutional and electoral requirements. First page, Nigerian students arrested with 49 million cocaine in South Africa. All right, then we also have on page 2, 24 million naira public projects abandoned in states, says by reports in the Northwest. The government needs stronger international support to tackle these challenges. Partnering with the United Kingdom, will boost our capacity. Then also looking at the second reasons why the Britain set for fresh security alliances. 2, to strengthen military training and intelligence sharing. The alliances is expected to focus on training Nigerian troops, sharing intelligence on terrorist network, improving surveillances and counter-terrorism tactics. The UK has advanced experiences in security operations and intelligence in this particular aspect. All right, then also we also have outcome of Tinubu's visit UK. Outcome of Tinubu's UK's visit. All right, then talks between Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Keir Starmer helps push defense cooperation, broader diplomatic ties, and also the visit created momentum for a new upgraded security agreement, and also tracking transitional crime. All right, tracking national crime. Both countries are concerned about terror financing, cybercrime, human trafficking. These crimes often comes across border. So joint action is necessary. The joint action is necessary. Then we also have protected economic and strategic interest. All right, stability in Nigeria if affect trade, foreign investment, energy security. All right, the UK has strong economic ties with Nigerians, so improving security is mutually beneficial. All right, these are all and what is being discussed as Britain is set for a fresh security alliances with Nigeria. In summary, Nigeria and Britain want a fresh security alliances because insecurity is increasing. Nigeria needs training and intelligence support. Then Tinubu UK visit strengthening ties, and also both countries wants to fight terrorism and cross-border crimes together. All right, this is on the front page of the Punch, talking about Britain set for fresh security alliances in Nigeria, and this is going to boost our security agency, and it's going to help in defeating counter-terrorism and insurgency in Nigeria that we have faced, and it's really has really eaten into the system of our country. And kudos to our military that were able to eliminate about 80 bandits. We saw that on the other page. Kudos to our military. They are really trying and set up more infrastructures. More gadgets, more surveillances, and more hybrid systems and technologies needs to be given them so that they can have a full fluent and operation without a shortage of lack or anything. All right, still moving on further, talking about the Punch newspaper on the front page, where we have medicine shortage looms amid U.S.-Iran conflict. All right, that is coming on the front page of page 2 of the Punch, where we have medicine shortage looms amid U.S.-Iran conflict. Looking at why medicine shortage and why there is a loom amid U.S.-Iran conflict. Firstly, distress cost means transport becomes more expensive. Fewer deliveries are made. This leads to reduced supply and higher drug prices. Then we also have dependence on global pharmaceutical supply chain. Many countries rely on imported medicines, raw material, activities, and ingredients. All right, war disruptions affect productions in countries like India. Another big story on the front page, that big caption here, Nigerian students arrested with 49 million cocaine in South Africa. A quick look at why a student has to be arrested with 49 million of cocaine in South Africa. He was intercepted through intelligence and surveillances. All right, South African authorities, especially at the major entry points like airports, are on a high alert for drug trafficking. Security agencies often act on intelligent tips, suspicious travel patterns. The suspect was likely flogged upon arrival. All right. Then second, we have the drug were discovered during a search operation. After interception, officials typically carried out luggage check, body scan, which is the X-ray, swallow in capsule, that is drug mole. The cocaine was about 49 million was found during such check. Then also he was allegedly acting as a drug carrier. I mean, he was being sent on a mission. I mean, how can it be traveling with such amount of cocaine in your body? 49 million cocaine. That is on the high side. Then many suspected arrested abroad. Travels or students or visit visas are used by trafficking network to move drugs. I mean, these networks moves cocaine from South America, Africa, Europe, and South Africa. I mean, the students may have been part of a larger international drug network. All right, then we also have South Africa has intensified crackdown. Then white students are sometimes involved. A look at white students are sometimes involved because this relates to a student. Traffickers often recruit people posting as students, business travelers, because they attract less suspicion. I mean, but investigations sometimes reveal that they are not genuinely studying or are being used to transport drug money. I mean, taking a look at why would they be using a student to be trafficking? Because they discovered that students are not and business travelers. They don't need to be checked. I mean, they are not checked fully to get the full body scan. But now he's already in court. The students is already in the net, and he has to pay for that. All right, that is the big story coming in there. And in summary, the Nigerian student was arrested because security agency identified and stopped him. A search uncovered cocaine worth 49 million, and he was likely acting as a drug carrier for trafficking network, and South African is currently cracking down heavily on drug smugglers. All right, that is it on the Punch on the front page. Talking about the Nigerian student that was arrested with 49 million cocaine. All right, and we also have on page 26, 24 billion public projects abandoned in the state by reporters. Right, you can see on the front page, on the big front page, where we have Tinubu pushed for a fresh security pact at state banquets. President meets British PM today. Talking about the big story, you can see President there and King Charles III and the wife of our president, and all post on the picture stand there. All right, we'll quickly go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue from the rest of the newspaper review. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Human augmentation. Human augmentation is enhancing human abilities through exoskeletons, wearable technology, and brain-computer interfaces. For instance, exoskeletons are helping individuals with mobility challenges walk again, while brain-computer interfaces allow users to control devices with their thoughts. However, concerns around accessibility and privacy remain. The market for human augmentation is expected to grow to $298.5 billion by 2027, driven by demand in healthcare, defense, and personal productivity tools. Industry cloud platforms. Industry cloud platforms offer tailored solutions for specific industries such as healthcare, finance, and manufacturing. These platforms provide specialized tools to meet regulatory compliance requirements while boosting operational efficiency. For example, healthcare cloud platforms streamline patient data management and support care coordination. However, the challenge lies in ensuring data security and interoperability between platforms. The market for industry cloud platforms is expected to reach $83 billion by 2025.
All right, it's glad to have you back on Idea TV, the newspaper review segment. All right, we'll be taking a look at the next story, talking about the Nation's newspaper this morning. All right, I think we are done with the Punch, taking a look at the Nation's. On the front page of the Nation newspaper, we have Pomp, a splendor, mark hosting of Tinubu wife by King Charles III. All right, then we also have on the front page, on page 3, 80 terrorists crushed by troops in Bomo, night bombing. Right, then we also have on page 5 of the Nations, LP to pick presidential candidates May 23rd. Then on page 14, tomorrow is Eid al-Fitr, Sultan Abubakar declares. Then still looking at the front page where we have economic strong enough to withstand global shock. That is coming on the front. Then we also have other caption like state visit puts Nigeria in global focus. Tinubu seek British support to end insecurity. Then on the down page of the Nation, where we also have Filipinos convicted for trafficking cocaine. That is coming on page 6. And also have cocoa farmer abducted in Ibadan. That is coming on page 6 of the Nations. Looking at the big front story page of the Nations, where we have Pomp Splendor marks hosting of Tinubu's wife by King Charles III. A look at why the hosting of King Charles III by Pomp Splendor. I mean, a former state receptions at Buckingham Palace. I mean, Bola Tinubu's wife, Oluremi Tinubu, was hosted by King Charles III in a highly ceremonial setting. The event included a red carpet arrival, royal guard in full dress, then formal protocol ceremonies. All right, they also have extravagant settings and decor. Looking at the arrival of Tinubu's wife by King Charles III. Extravagant setting and decor. The reception featured lavish flower arrangements, historical royal artwork, and tapestries. Then crystal chandeliers and ornate halls. I mean, these projects are traditionally British royal gender to honor the visiting from the First Lady. Right, the cultural exchange and formal etiquette. I mean, the event include introduction to British autocrats and diplomats, discussing, highlighting Nigerian-UK ties, and also presentation of gifts as customary in state visits. Then, all right, attires and symbolism. We also have media coverage and public image. I mean, in summary of this front page, where we have the hosting of Tinubu's wife by King Charles III was marked by royal pomp and ceremonial splendor, then also lavish decoration of formal etiquette and cultural symbolism, and also a platform to strengthen Nigerian-UK diplomatic ties. All right, that is on the front page of the Nation. They're also taking a look at the caption on the front page of the Nations, where we have LP picking presidential candidates May 23rd. That is coming in on page 5 of the Nations. Look at why the LP is picking up a presidential candidate on May 3rd. I mean, to meet up electoral commission deadline, that's the first, and also to resolve internal debates quickly. They also have to start the general election campaign early, then to prepare for coalition talks and strategic alliances. I mean, looking at the first one, to meet electoral commission deadline, the Labour Party must submit its official candidates list to the Independent National Electoral Commission, the INEC, ahead of 2027 general elections. Then INEC has specific timeline for party primaries and nominations. So the LP is aligning with these schedules. Then also where we have to resolve internal debate quickly. Like most parties, the LP has functions and aspirances, vowing to the ticket setting a firm date ensures transparency selections, avoidance of prolonged disputes, then party unity before campaign starts. I mean, on and on. Then we also have why we're still looking at the deadline for the Labour Party to pick presidential candidate on May 23rd. On the top, we have to start the general election campaign early. Looking at declaring the candidates by May 23rd allows the Labour Party to launch campaign across all states, mobilize supporters and volunteers, and also raise funds and build grassroots structure. I mean, early candidate selection is critical to compete effectively with APC and PDP. Then we also have to prepare for coalition talks and strategic alliances. All right, after picking a candidate, the Labour Party can engage smaller parties for endorsements, and also aligned with this present without a last-minute challenge. All right, that is it on the front page of the Labour Party picking presidential candidates main challenge. All right, that is it on the front page of the Labour Party picking presidential candidates May 2022. They're still looking at the front page where we have Filipinos conviction for trafficking cocaine. Talking about on page 6 of the Nation, the down page, where we have how Filipinos was able to is convicted of trafficking cocaine. A look at first, we have arrest and investigation. The suspected The suspect, a Filipino national, was arrested after being caught with cocaine, usually at an airport, seaport, or border checkpoint. Authorities often act on intelligent tips, routine security check, suspicious travels, or shipping patterns. Then we also have evidence presented in court. Evidence presented in court. During the trial, prosecutors submitted evidence such as the drug recorded weighing several kilograms, then custom and immigration reports, then also witnesses testimony or surveillance footage. I mean, this evidence links the suspects directly to illegal drug trafficking. All right, they also have legal proceeding. We also have sentence and enforcement, then international implication. I mean, in summary of these, of the suspect. All right, the Filipino was convicted because, talking about the Filipinos trafficking cocaine. The Filipino was convicted because first, he was caught trafficking cocaine. Then also authorities presented strong evidence in court. Then the court found him guilty under Nigerian drug laws. Then also he was faced a long prison sentence, fine. All right, this is all on this front page talking about the Filipino that was trafficking cocaine and was caught by an intelligence agency. All right, still moving on further, we also have on the front page of the Nation, the down page, talking about, see on the same page, 6, cocoa farmer abducted in Ibadan. Cocoa farmer abducted in Ibadan. Cocoa farmer was abducted in Ibadan. And what happened? A quick look at what really happened, looking at the case of insurgency and insecurity that has really ravaged Nigeria all around. And we are getting the reports that a cocoa farmer was abducted. I mean, what really happened? Report indicates that armed men abducted a group of cocoa farmers in Ibadan, Oyo State. The attackers occurred in rural cocoa farming community, often isolated and vulnerable to criminal gangs. Then possible motives. Ransom kidnapping. The most common motive in the region is financial gain. With kidnapping, demanding money from families or communities, local disputes. We also have local disputes. Look at the possible motive, the motive behind all this. I mean, it's very crazy. I mean, they have now made kidnapping like a source of livelihood, where they now kidnap for ransom. Then we now have local disputes. Talking about the local dispute, that also refers to sometimes criminal group targeted farmers due to land dispute or agricultural conflicts. But ransom is more likely. So you can imagine, I don't know why it's degenerating to this on a very fast extent. All right, moving on further, we have context in Oyo State and Southwest Nigeria, then security response, looking at the security response. Police, possibly state security agencies, have been deployed to investigate the incident and track down the abductors and ensure the safe release of the victims. I mean, in summary of this, a group of cocoa farmers was kidnapped in Ibadan. Then the motive is likely ransom. Then police are investigating. An incident highlights rural insecurity in southwest Nigeria. I mean, this is a very big inside story. A quick look at that and get the full gist on that aspect of the cocoa farmer that was abducted. I mean, this is just a list of the abductees, talking about the hundreds and 200s of people that have been abducted daily and are being moved in large format into unknown areas by this unknown gunmen. And we can see the havoc they are really causing in the Nigerian system. I mean, they have really choked the system, trying to manipulate and scale their way through by collecting ransom and involving much amount of kidnapping and killing also. All right, a quick look at that story on that aspect to get the full gist and the full insight. All right, let's quickly move into Vanguard. Let's see what the Vanguard is saying. On the front page of the Vanguard this morning, we have Maiduguri explosion. Survivors recount ordeal. Service chiefs relocate to Borno. All right, that is talking about the Maiduguri train explosion that had really claimed a lot of life, and it was such a horrible scenario. I mean, people were actually running from one place of the explosion, not knowing that they are going to another place that is close by, detonated. I mean, what is going on in this country? When has it gotten to this? I mean, it's just alarming and it's just crazy. It's just alarming and it's crazy. Looking at the case and the detriment of this detonation of bombs and how it has really killed people. I mean, it's just a sad scenario. It's a sad scenario, and I don't just know what to say right now on this front page. All right, still moving on to page 7 on the Vanguard, we also have terrorists is threatening to kill 32 abducted Kaduna villagers over 30 million ransom. That is so crazy. Then on page 9 also, we also have Tinubu's UK visit spoils investment deals and jobs creation. Then we also have on page 9, still on the Vanguard, where we have no judge has power to order lawyers to kneel in court. All right, so that is coming on the front page. We also have on page 10, still on the Vanguard, where we have Keyamo orders probe into Akure Airport intrusion. All right, then on page 8 also, we also have Eid Fitr. Federal government declares tomorrow, Friday, public holiday. All right, then looking at the down page, Middle East crisis, U.S. counter-terrorism directs resign over Iran war. Then also looking at the down page of the Vanguard, 1.16 million students benefit from 206 billion Nigerian net fund loans. Then also on page